I'm Chrissy. I'm with Ergobaby. So today we're going to talk about our new carrier, the Heirloom. I'll do a demo of the newborn infant mode and then the baby mode. And then I'm going to give you a little side-by-side comparison with the Omni. And at that point, then I can answer some questions too, and I'll try to kind of keep tabs on them. But I just think it's such a new, innovative carrier in the design and in the fabric. So I want to give you kind of a side-by-side to see the comparison of what it is compared to everything else. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Monday. It says Prego 30 isn't working. It should be working now, but if it continues to not work, you can always message support@ergobaby.com and alert them, and then we can get that set up for you just in case. So I only have one color with me today, which is the kind of purpley maroon, and then it fades into a blue on the waistband. So we'll go right into what makes this different. So the thing about the Heirloom that's really just off the bat, the first thing you notice, it's really thin, it's really light. Let me fold it up here so you can see how compact. I roll this. You see how tiny it is? But yeah, it's still supported. It's not small. It rolls up really small like our, let's say, like our Embrace does, and sort of a similar design as the Embrace. But the thing that you'll notice is it looks, and get close, it's hard to see in my camera. It's knit. It looks almost like a little bit sweatery right here, and then this is more mesh. But the thing that's cool is that this entire panel is one piece. So unlike the Omni, which I can show you side by side later, there's multiple pieces sewn into the carrier. And this is all one piece that's woven. And it even is woven enough that there's this bucket seat here kind of woven into it. You can see the curve. And then the straps are all one woven piece as well. So this is all woven. This is similar to say athletic shoes, or there's a certain brand of flats and sneakers that starts with an R that's very similar. Just like them, this is also made out of post-consumer product. It's about 87% post-consumer product. So it makes it a little bit green. And so it's just really exciting. We have different colors. There's one, actually I have a bag. There's one that's black, and then it has this rainbowy patch in it as well. And then we have a light gray, a charcoal gray, and there's one other one that I think I want to say it's a light blue that we are getting. I actually am going to order the rainbowy. It's rainbow and black kind of space dyed together that I'm really excited about. And all of the colors except for the charcoal are limited edition. So once they're gone, they're gone. If there's a color that you like besides the charcoal, I get it because we will not be getting them back again. So this, unlike if you're familiar with our other carriers, it's worn apron style, just like the Embrace is worn. So it feels a little bit different when you're putting it on. It almost feels like you're putting it on upside down, but we'll walk you through it. So let's see, the other features I want to point out real quick before I start demoing is this does not allow for you to do a hip carry. And it's the same as the Embrace in that way. So you can wear baby on front facing in, baby on front facing out, and then we can also do a back carry with it to face out. This is the way you adjust it. Unlike the sliders or the buttons on our other carrier, to face out, we're just going to pull it together like that. And that is still going to allow for baby to be in that supported seat, but it's going to narrow the panel for their legs. I'm going to pull this out. But that's the only time you're going to use this. You're not going to use this in any other setting. The straps are curved on this. This is it's under 1.5 pounds to tell you how light it is. And so while they're woven, they're curved, and that's going to give you a more customizable fit, but you're not going to be able to cross the straps like you can do with our other carrier. And then the little chest clip is on a slider. You can slide it to whatever setting you need it to be. And let's see, anything else I want to point out real quick. One other thing that's really cool, and I'll show you once I have it on too, is we have on all our carriers a little elastic on the end. If you're not sure what this is, you just go like that, you roll it up, and then you can put the elastic over it. But what we found that sometimes as parents didn't want to have to do that every time, so it's really hard to see them wearing all black. But there's this little elastic right here, and this actually will slide on and pull the strap backwards away from you once you have the carrier on, which is actually, I think, hands down my favorite feature out of any of our carriers. I think it's really ingenuitive, and it keeps the straps out of the way once it's all rolled up. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, so when you first get it out of box, a lot of times our carriers are set up in a newborn setting. This is not. This is going to come like this. To make it be for a newborn, you're going to fold your straps together like this. And then there is on the waistband this little loop. We're just going to go straight through it. All right. So then what that does is that's going to lower the panel. It's going to make it shorter. I did not say the weight limit yet. That is a great question. So the weight limit for this is going to be 35 pounds, or up to 35 pounds, starting at 7. So this does not need an infant insert. This can be worn from birth. And if you're not sure, I feel like sometimes with the Embrace especially, people kind of, they're not always sure how to put it on. And a good reminder is the inside of this is black, and the instructions are going to be, you want them to be facing up to you so you can read them. So it's a good guide that you can just, if you're looking at the instructions, you're holding it, then you know that you're putting it on the way that you want it on. So this can be worn up and down. It doesn't have to be worn at hips like some of our others, because it is sort of that apron style. If you're not sure where the waistband needs to go on you, the best thing you can do is get your baby. So if I know I want my baby to be close enough to kiss, I don't want them too low, I don't want them too high, I know that I want their butt about here on my body, and then I can determine where I want to put the waistband for them on me. So I definitely always recommend, if you're not sure, hold your baby on you and say, okay, I want their butt to be about here. So for me, that means that I want this part, so it's a little bit lower than the waistband, to be at that area on my body. This carrier is washable. The one thing, because of the way the woven fabric is of the carrier, is we couldn't put a pocket on the front. It just didn't work that way. It's something that we played with, but we got a lot of feedback. The parents still wanted a pocket. So while I'm putting it on, I'll point out all of them. We're saying, I got your back, is that we have a woven pocket on, it's just sewn right into that lower back support. So you can still fit like your phone, your keys, a few essentials to carry on the go. And we're going to center that on our lower back. And do a little shimmy. All right. All right. So got it on. I'm going to grab my baby. And I always roll my carriers up to the nape of baby's neck where I want it to sit on them. And that helps me give a good idea of where I want them to carry it. I don't try to pull it up too tall, or sometimes I'll see where people just kind of hold it to their back, but then that leaves a lot of gapped fabric. So I'm going to put it up to the nape of baby's neck where I want it to be. I'll put my strap on. All right, so if you start with your straps a little bit loose, then I can go behind me, and I'm not reaching all around for the carrier. I can just put it here. And then when I tighten my straps, it's going to lower that chest clip where we want it to be. Ideally, we want our straps, we say to look like an H. So we want it to be a little bit lower, maybe about shoulder blade level. We want our straps to be parallel to each other. It's going to look a little bit different with the curved straps of the carrier, but we don't want the clip to be all the way up on our upper back and our neck. It's going to put a lot of pressure there. So then I'm going to do a quick little pull. I don't do the biggest adjustment just yet. I'm going to do a little bit, just get some of the slack out. And then, all right, so to get all the slack out, a lot of times I'll see people just pull and they want to pull. And what that does is you can actually see how I'm putting a lot of pressure and I'm pinning baby to my body, but I'm not pulling all the slack out of my straps. So when I am adjusting the carrier, the thing that I want to do on it is I'm going to start at the front. I'm going to push that slack to the back. I'm going to pull it down and around. And then I will adjust that out. And then I'll do the same side, push and around. So then that little elastic strap that I have here, I'm not even going to do this, but I can just push that little elastic back and see it pulls that strap down away from hanging in the front like this. So this is the newborn setting through the waistband here, over back, straps. And this is really light. Again, I'm going to say it's under 1.5 pounds, but because of the nature of the way the fabric is woven, we call it a forma knit is what we're calling it. It's really light. It's still really supportive. So you can still wear a baby up to 35 pounds in this. I think the material is super soft. It feels, it's not like the same as like something that's made 100% cotton, but we do have some lining on the inside that is cotton. So it is going to be a little bit softer on the inside, but it feels like wearing like a tightly knit sweater. Like it doesn't feel scratchy. Like sometimes when some of our mesh carriers, when you get them new out of box, I always recommend washing them right away. That mesh will feel a little bit, I don't want to say it's not soft because it is, but it will get much more soft in the wash, where this is very, very, very soft, new out of box. It feels like you're wearing a tightly knit sweater, or kind of compared to like athletic shoes or that kind of athletic material. So there is the newborn setting. And then to get baby out, I'm gonna loosen my straps. So I had a question about warm climates, and I live in Minnesota. This just came out this week, so I have not worn it in the summer yet. But because it doesn't have the thickness of a canvas carrier, and it does this part right here, I'll lift it up and show you. It's woven differently than the other part of it. So it acts sort of like as a mesh so I think it would be really breathable in those summer months. So then baby is about 2 months. We say the newborn setting is going to be for the first 2 months. We're going to then switch this to I'm just pulling it out of the waistband. See? And then that goes back to, and then this setting will be to 35 pounds. So you'll be able to get quite a bit of use for it. I just want to make sure. Look at my notes so we're facing out quick. Okay. So then to put this on with the baby setting. Again, if you're not sure exactly where, we're going to figure out where we want baby's butt to be. I'm going to use a little slightly bigger doll than the newborn doll that I just had. I have the baby here. I know I want their butt to be about here on my body, so I'm going to put the waistband upside down. So I'm going to make sure their butt is going to start here at the bottom of the waistband, and that's where I'm going to put it on my body. Again, this is the Heirloom. This is our brand new carrier. All right, so there we go. And then I'm going to get my baby. All right, so put this, roll this up the nape of baby's neck, arm strap. And then again, I keep my shoulder straps loose because then I can go up behind and reach the clip, and then I'll lower that into place. So then we can take the slack, pull it, take the slack, pull it, and then that will lower that chest clip where we want it to be so it's not putting pressure on our neck or upper back. Get that down. All right, so the one thing I like to do, especially once we're not in the newborn setting anymore, in all of our carriers, is I like to put my hands in at the top of baby's diaper and I sort of scoop them towards me, and then I'll put my hands on the bottom of baby's legs and help kind of push their butt back away from me into the seat. And what that does is it gives baby a nice deep seat. So put my hands here, push around, and then this is a short doll for this carrier, but look at this. You can see that we're doing here. Sometimes I'll see where parents will put baby in where they want it to be, and if you roll this up a little bit, we'll get that seat a little bit deeper. But I'll see where baby's legs are kind of hanging down, but there's a lot of fabric here. So by putting my hands in and then scooping, I can get baby's butt into a nice seated, we'll say seated, or sometimes M or froggy position. But really what we want is we want their butt to fill in this whole part of the carrier. And this will be at about 2 months, and then you can wear until 35 pounds is the top limit, 7 is the bottom. And we'll say about first 2 months, you'll do the newborn setting on the carrier. So we've got that. Now, you want baby to face out. Let's talk facing out a little bit. This carrier goes to 35 pounds. So this is the baby setting. The newborn setting is the first 2 months, and then this setting will take you well into toddlerhood. So when is baby ready to face out? Well, does baby want to face out is the first question. I'm a mom of 3. My kids never really cared either way. I just didn't do it. Also, we didn't have a lot of options when they were young to face them out, but there are definitely some babies out there who want to face out. My niece, for example, would not go in a carrier. She would scream. She hated it unless she was facing out. So it's definitely an option. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. But it's, a tool in the toolbox. So what we want is we want baby to be about 5 months old, and every baby is different. So if you're not, we can help you figure that out. You can email us at customer support. We have a Facebook group you can join, and you can always post pictures in there, and we're ready to help you troubleshoot as well. But we want 5 months. We want good head and neck control. We want them to be able to hold their head up. And let me take this. I'm gonna do what we call our quick switch to show you how to face out. This baby would obviously be too small. Their mouth is not going to go over the top of the carrier. That's my other big, what do I want to call it? Guide. Want their chin in their mouth when they're facing out, see a top above the top of the carrier. So reach back, and I'm going to unclip here. Now, if you like to switch between outward and inward, we're going to do what we call the quick switch. And how we do that is when baby's in the carrier facing you, you don't have to take the whole carrier off in order to change it. So what I can do is I can do our adjustment, and this is what we're going to do to face out. And then I'm going to take off one strap. I would take my baby, if they were the proper size to be doing this and age. I'll tuck them in, tuck this back in, reach behind, and clip. So I had a question about how easy it is for the buckle. I think that it's fairly easy to reach, but I will show a quick demo on how to do what we call the t-shirt method, where you're going to pre-clip it to get it on and off, and then you're not going to have to worry about reaching behind you at all in order to clip it, which might be beneficial. So once I have baby in, again, I'm going to do the same thing I like to do with the hip scoop, except I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to scoop, and this is going to look weird on this doll. And baby would not be ready to be out. So I'm going to scoop, and then you can see that baby is still, it's hard when dolls aren't jointed, but you can see that baby is still in that sort of seated M position. They're still supported knee to knee. And then we would want baby to be facing out. This baby is too small to do. But if they were there, we're good. So we're out, we're about, baby's getting tired, they're getting fussy, we're ready to switch them in. Then what we would do, loosen these straps again a little bit. We're gonna unclip. And then I would take one side off. I can flip baby back to facing me. We always want to face baby in if they feel overstimulated or if they start getting tired. We don't want them to face out while they're sleeping. It makes it much harder to monitor their nose and their mouth. That's what we want to make sure we can always see when they're in the carrier, and when they're facing out, it's hard to do. So once we've switched them back in, our quick switch to the regular setting again. So you're just going to lift up. You just lift up. It's really simple to get that back to where you want it to be. And then I would adjust these straps again. So I like the quick switch method. You can also do that with the Omni 360 and the 360 all positions. So it makes it really easy without having to take off the carrier to be able to just do that adjustment to pull, to adjust it to that outward facing, switch baby out. Once baby's done facing up, put him back in, and then swap here. So I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. My voice is a little bit, my throat's getting a little bit dry. And then I'll show you the t-shirt method. And we can put baby on back in this carrier. Give me one moment. Okay. So t-shirt method. This method is really great if you have T-Rex arms like my husband does, or arthritis, and you just have a hard time reaching that clip. So if we keep the straps loose, we can always reach it right here. But if you have limited mobility for whatever reason, we can pre-clip this. Okay, and this is how we can talk about the H straps as well. So if we have this too much, it's going to pull all of that pressure to this part where it is on your back, and it's going to be maybe get some pressure points. If it's too loose, then your straps are going to have to over adjust the shoulder straps to take that slack out. So ideally, about this, and you can find what works best for you. I find the first couple of times I get a carrier, I kind of pre-adjust to where I think I want it to be, and then I'll have someone help me kind of move the chest strap up and down, as well as adjust it if I can't reach it to where that ideal position. Once you have it here, you don't have to move it, and you don't have to undo the strap per se. If you're sharing a carrier, my recommendation, you can't do it on this one with the sliders, but I have like a little white fabric marker, and I just mark the webbing. Like I just put a line on it so that I know that that's my spot. So if my husband uses it and adjusts it to his height, I can know where it's sort of, that I can guide it to where I want that white spot to be on the webbing. And we can do that on our other carriers as well. So to do the t-shirt method, we keep our straps loose and we pre-clip it. Actually, I'm going to loosen this a little bit too. All right, there. Then I'm going to get my baby. I'm going to roll this up baby's back. And this is like a muscle memory thing. For me, I feel like I do it, and so I'm going to try to go slow and talk how to do it. So I'm going to bring the straps up. I want to make sure they're not twisted. And I already, like just out of habit, I just put my arm through the strap. And then this one, I'm going to double check. I'm flipped over, so I'm going to flip it back. I'm not twisted. There we go. And then I can just put this over my head. The other thing, if you feel like the straps get too twisted on you, is we can just put them on the same way you would, one strap at a time. And then you can clip, I've seen where people clip it here in front of them, and then pull it over. So the t-shirt method is really great for any carrier, not just our own, doing that t-shirt method to get that strap. So then we would bring the slack around and tighten where we want it to be, ready to take it off, and I'll loosen the straps, and then one hand on baby, and then you would pull it off. So that's a great way if you have trouble with buckles or limited mobility to get the carrier on and off without having to reach behind you. All right, let's see. That's off. All right. The one thing I wanted to point out, I lift this up, then you can see how light and airy it is. If you see the middle, you can sort of see my hands through it here. Let me see. If I hold it up to the ergo side, maybe you can see a little bit better. So the outside of this is going to be more of like a tighter weave, like a sweater. And then the inside is sort of more of a mesh weave, but it's still all one woven piece of fabric, which I think is super cool. All right, so I had a question about back wearing, and yes, you can absolutely wear on back. I'll just do a really quick demo for back, and then I want to do a side-by-side comparison with the Omni 360 mesh, just so you can get an idea of how much smaller this carrier is while still being as supportive. So to go on back, and worth pointing out is on all of our carriers, we have this little loop. And what this is it's called our safety elastic, and it's just a backup. And what it is we go through it, hard because I'm wearing all black, but going through the carrier. And what it is if you don't get the buckle in all the way, you see how I would just hold it right out? But if you have it through the safety elastic all the way through, and I pulled the whole strap through, and I clip, and I don't get it in, it's going to stop that from going anywhere. It's not going to be able to come unclipped. All right. The other thing I really like about this lower back support is that if you are wearing on back, you don't have just the webbing going across your stomach. I have a postpartum mom bod. I don't like it to be super tight on me, but this is like a nice little, support for my tummy as well when you're wearing on back. So there's lots of ways to get baby on back. I'm not going to go into back wearing in full detail. I could do a whole video on that. But because this is the way the carrier is designed, because it's more an apron style, so instead of, let's see, show you. When you would put baby on back in any of our other carriers, you're wearing the waistband like this against you. So you're putting baby at the top of the waistband. But because this is worn apron style, baby's butt's going to be at the bottom of the waistband. So this is something you want to keep in mind. It is going to be a lower carry. You're not going to be able to get baby as high up on your back, even if you wore it really high, because baby's going to start down here for a back carry. So to get baby on back, what I like to do, and this is the way I usually teach in my classes, at least for an intro to back wearing, is I put one strap up and I'm going to tighten the strap off the back. All right, there we go. And then the other strap is going to be hanging a little bit loose still. You're going to put your arm through it once you have baby in. So you don't have to keep it super loose in the same way you would to be able to reach the chest clip, but you got it right there. Are there benefits to a lower? I mean, the benefits is, I shouldn't say there's benefits to a lower back carry, but I think it's worth noting because I see a lot of parents who want their baby to see over their shoulder. And then this type of carrier, because of the structured waist belt on it, that is, you're going from the bottom instead of the top. You're just not going to get that height that you would maybe in a different carrier. I think it's meant to be worn more like backpack style. So if we're wearing and everything's adjusted properly, it shouldn't hurt your back or your front. But I see that a lot of parents sometimes want their baby to see over their shoulder. And it's not going to happen, especially if you're starting to back wear with a smaller baby. So with that in mind, what I would like to see, as long as there's no medical, and these are obviously things you should talk with your primary care practitioner about if you have concerns. I'm not a doctor and cannot give any of that sort of medical advice, but we want to see that baby is, if they're a typically developing baby, they have no health concerns we would need know about. We would like at least 6 months and sitting unassisted. So that way they have that core and neck control to support themselves, because we can't monitor them in the same way on our back. Now, there will be exceptions to this, and that's something that as an educator, if you came to me, we can talk privately. So these are generally speaking terms. And you don't have to put baby on your back at any age. It's just going to become a personal preference as babies get heavier and bigger. And sometimes it's more convenient to have them on back, and it takes the pressure off their weight being forward versus on your back. So it's just going to be a personal preference for you versus whether you want them on back or not. You do not have to put them on back at all. All right, so let me grab my doll. All right, so I have baby here. Now, these are these things that it takes some practice. It might take a dozen or so times to really start feeling like you build that muscle memory and feeling confident on baby getting on back. So I am right-handed, so I'm going to scooch from the right. You can do what works best for you, whether you're right or left-handed. And so it just will take some practice. You can practice over a bed or a couch or have a spotter to help just in case. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right arm and I like to swim it around baby. I'm going to do like a big motion just to get around their head. And then I put my arm here to sort of hold them in place. Because I'm going to take my opposite hand, I'm going to put it through the carrier, and I'm going to grab baby's leg. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to grab their foot right here, into my other hand, and then I'm going to help use that to guide baby's foot into the carrier, and then use that opposite hand to push the carrier up baby's back. Then I can let go with the hand that I have. So I have one hand on baby here, and then I can grab that strap and pull that over my shoulder. So a lot of times when you're doing this hip scoot, sometimes you'll get like right here, there's a lot of fabric still. So I'm going to kind of put my hands in, scooch baby down into that seat. And again, this baby, plastic baby, would be too small for backbearing. The other thing you can do is you can sort of use the straps before you clip and kind of do a little bounce to help use gravity to get baby into that nice deep seat. And then we would clip the strap like this. So, all right, and then I'm going to grab this and tighten my straps. So again, back wearing is going to be, and this is for typically developing babies, but we'd like to see at least 6 months sitting unassisted and no medical predispositions. So that if this is something you're concerned about, we always are happy to help, answer questions if you email us what's specific to you and your baby. But those are just kind of the general guidelines. But as you can see, baby's pretty low. And even if I raise this as high as I possibly can, baby's not, this is pulling baby up as high as I probably could in this carrier. Baby's not going to be able to see over. So worth noting, it is going to be a lower back carry just because of the design of the carrier. All right, then to get baby off, I'm going to unclip. I'm going to put my opposite hand here, and then I can bring my arm around and then scooch baby to the front. There we go. All right, and then I want to do a side-by-side comparison of this really quick with the Omni. So I'm going to grab my Omni mesh, and then I'll show you the difference in straps, and so we can get a good idea. All right. So this is our Omni 360 mesh. This carrier allows facing out, facing in, hip carry, back carry, and by comparison with the Airlam, you can see here there's mesh on the inside, but this is multiple pieces. So these are one panel here, one panel here, one panel here, several panels shown here. The head pillow for the Omni is in for the newborn setting, and then goes down like that. But worth showing like the differences. We show, so the Omni goes to 45 pounds, this goes to 35, so it's slightly lower. You can see the difference of the straps versus the Heirloom on top and the Omni on the bottom. The Omni is much more padded. It's several pieces of fabric sewn together with a padded shoulder. Let's see, it's okay. Are we asking, is it heavy? This carrier is actually one of the lightest carriers on the market. It's under 1.5 pounds. And I don't know the exact measurement for the Omni, but it's a much heavier carrier than this one. And then if you look at the panel, I'll do waistband. So the waistband on this is very, I'll go this way so you can see it, very flat and thin, as opposed to this one has a slight curve, and it's actually not that much thicker in like thickness, but it is much thicker. So if you look at them here and here, this one is much thinner as a waistband. So let's see. I think that's my only comparison with there. And then I'm going to do a quick demo with the Omni. Okay, Jennifer, you can never have enough carriers. That's my philosophy. If you can swing it. I always like to have at least two. I like to keep one in my car, and I like to keep one at home. And I don't want to share them between the house and the car, because there's been several times I've got in places if I've taken my car carrier out to wash it, and I don't have a carrier. So it's nice, and different carriers have different purposes. So I definitely, I have not just Ergo carriers, but I definitely have a lot of carriers. So again, this carrier will be from newborn, in the newborn setting. You can do that again. You are just tuning in. We're just going to take the strap, go through. And then that newborn setting, what that does is it shortens the length of the panel, and it allows you to sort of scrunch it to baby size. I mean, I think I have a question about whether they should invest in this carrier. And I think all carriers are worth investing in. I really love this carrier. I think it will be really nice for summer because it is so light. There's not a lot of padding. There is different types of textures of the fabric, that this is very breathable on baby's back. And at 36 pounds, that's going to get you to a 2 to 3-year-old well into toddlerhood. You're not going to, it's by comparison, the Embrace that we have, which is also worn apron style, it can be worn from birth. It only goes to 25 pounds, which is 12 to 18 months. It feels like a wrap. There's lots of pros to the Embrace as well, but if you have to pick like a one and done carrier, picking one that will last you in toddlerhood is always a great choice. So these are $220. So it's our most expensive carrier thus far, but it's due to the nature of the way the fabric is woven. And if you use that code PREGO30, then you would get 30% off the carrier. So I'm just going to do the infant one. And the smallest baby is 7 pounds that we can fit into this. So I have it, again, I have it in the newborn mode, which is just pulled through the waistband to make it shorter, and we can scrunch that as we need to for baby size. And grab baby. And then if you start with your arm straps loose, and your arm through, and still loose, through. And then I can go, if you start with them loose, then we go back, and I can reach here just at my neck, clip, and then I can adjust the strap down. The code is PREGO30, and it is pinned at the top of the chat for you as well. And that will be for 30% off. And that will be valid for all 3 days. But then after PREGO, it will not work. So you have to do it during the time of the event. If you're interested in an heirloom as well, we also are doing the giveaway on Wednesday when they're doing the giveaways at the end. They're giving away an heirloom and a Metro stroller, and that's at 3:30 Eastern time. So there's a chance to win one there, newborn mode. So then again, this can face out, baby facing in, and it can be a back carry. We cannot cross the straps because the straps are curved, and the nature in which they're designed give you sort of that more customized print fit. A lot of times, you look at the Embrace here, the Embrace straps can cross, which is worth noting. But they're pretty bulky, And so in order to make this more ergonomic on you as the wearer for your shoulders, the straps have to be a little more curved. But it does feel very sleek. It feels very fitted, which is really nice for such a small carrier. All right. Chelsea, you can purchase from our website, ergobaby.com. So you should be able to just go directly there, and then at the checkout screen, and that's towards anything on our website. So then the checkout screen on the bottom left-hand side, there's a place for coupon codes, gift cards, and you would put the code in on the checkout screen. So, all right, so I'm going to loosen this and unclip. We are available on Amazon, but the code Ergo30 will not work on Amazon. And the 360 has so you mean, Victoria, what do you mean by having the back strap adjusted for the higher position? Steadily, you are entered in the giveaways when you registered for the event, I believe. I think you're already registered. And that is something that maybe Jules can clarify for me. But I think that everyone who registered for the event is registered for the giveaways. All right, so 360. Perfect. Yep, you are entered with your ticket. Oh, where I unclipped it? Yeah. Thank you for, all right, so I have these unclipped. Let me clip this here. All right. So on here, we don't have the sliders that we have on the heirloom, but this can slide up and down on the webbing. And then I'm going to put this. But see, this is nice. If you have to share your carrier with another caregiver, is again, take that little tiny white fabric marker. You can just put like a little line. And then if they move it, you find your little white marker and you can put it to where you want it to be. I say that as someone who's 5'4", my spouse is 6'1", so I would always, he'd wear our children, I always felt like he would mess up my perfect setting on the carrier. So then again, just like with the heirloom, I'm gonna grab my baby. And then we should grab, see if my straps are loose, so I can clip it right here. And that will lower that down. And again, just like all of our carriers that have the buckle on the front, I just really think it's worth noting that we really do want to push that over and then bring it around. I'm going to do a more in-depth demo of the Omni on Wednesday as well. So here, pull it around. There we go. And then this baby would actually need to be on the inside because this is a smaller doll than my other one. So with the Omni, all right, so because the Omni does not need an infant insert, the little head pillow will help support their head like an infant insert would. Do I have an infant insert by me? I thought I did. I thought I brought one out. Oh, I see it. Hang on. I can show you the infant insert just to show you kind of what this head pillow is supposed to do. Give me one sec. I had a question of what carrier I would recommend for a newborn. And I mean, I think it really comes down to a personal preference. So I think what is best for me and my newborn is going to be very different for a lot of people. But many of our carriers can fit that newborn stage. I love the embrace and I love the wrap for those newborn stages because they're really light and thin and comfy. The embrace is very similar to the heirloom. I've not worn a newborn in the heirloom yet due to COVID. I don't have access to many babies to borrow right now. But the heirloom is going to be, I feel like, will be a really great option for those people that want a carrier, they don't want to wrap, and they want to be like a one and done. So if you can afford more than one, it's always nice. I like to have like a newborn carrier and then like a baby carrier for myself. And I feel like they fit a little bit different guidelines. The Omni also goes from 7 pounds, so from birth to 45 pounds. So if you want a one and done carrier, the Omni is a great option. But if you do something like the wrap or the embrace, then you can jump up to say the 360 all positions, because you don't need the adjustable pieces of the Omni, which I can show you as well. So this is our infant insert. This is for the original and the 360 all positions. You need this little baby taco to give baby that support that the carriers aren't going to give you in the same way with the adjustable panels. And so it's got this little headpiece that supports their head, and that's what this little head pillow on the inside mimics. So at about 3-ish months, you would move the head pillow on the Omni to the outside. And at about 3 months, if you have the insert, you can take the pillow out and just have baby on the pillow. You don't need the whole insert. And you would use the pillow until baby can sit in the carrier with their legs out. I actually have this on a bigger setting than this doll needs, but we want baby to be able to kick freely from the knee down. So if they're overspread, if they can't kick freely from the knee down, not supported knee to knee, then on the 360 all positions in the original, you would use the infant insert. So we don't need, the Omni 360 does not need it. So let me show you why. So we've got the head support pillow, and then if I take this off, I know there's a lot of carrier options out there between different brands and for Ergo, and I know it can get confusing. I help with customer care as well on Ergo, and there's lots of people that will buy an infant insert for the Omni 360, and then they'll look at the instructions and say, oh, I didn't need it. So I know there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of options, and so people don't always know. That's okay. That's what we're here for. I love not having infant inserts. There was not a carrier, at least from Ergo, on the market when my babies were really little that didn't need one. So I love that we have them now. So the Omni has this adjustable waist, and this will come in the newborn setting if you first get it. It's Velcro, and this is pretty strong Velcro. And so this would be the newborn setting. What this does is it's going to make it much smaller for baby to sit in as opposed to moving out. All right. Let me talk crossing straps real quick. I'm going to buckle this to the outside. So we have some questions about, and I showed the t-shirt method earlier because of limited mobility, but if you have a hard time reaching that chest clip, then the other option that our Adapt and our Omni 360 offer is that you can cross the straps. So in order to do that, I'm going to take this little buckle, we're going to unbuckle it, other side, unbuckle it. Caitlin, the promo code should work for anything on our website. If you're having an issue with the promo code, it looks like there's a couple people who are having an issue with it. Email customer care. The email is support@ergobaby.com, and they should be able to help you. I think I have enough video. Hang on. I'll talk to you, okay? You cannot sit out here crying, though. All right. Joys of children home and fighting over the one computer in the house. That's for kids. Anyway, I'm so sorry about that. So straps are unclipped. Get you going right now. Right now. Mom life. Mom life. Let me tell you. All right, sorry about that. Man, you know, we did pretty good. We had almost a whole hour of no kids fighting over the computer. So I will take it 100%. All right, so to do cross straps, I'm gonna take this. My first pro tip on any of our carriers that cross straps, which is going to be the Omni, the Embrace, and the Adapt, is when you put it down, first thing you want to pull it straight down your back. What that does is that's going to pull the slack out from the front, but also it's going to cross it lower on your back as opposed to, so if I cross it like right here, the cross is going to be up on my shoulders. It's going to be up on my shoulders, my lower neck, and it can put a lot of pressure on your neck and on your back. So by pulling it straight down, pulling it across, it's going to pull that cross lower and more centered on our back. So then I'm going to clip it. And then I'm going to do the other side. And see with these ones, I don't necessarily, I keep the clips a little bit loose, but then what I like to do, I think I just do it out of habit, is so if I keep my clip lower, when I pull it down and pull it across, sometimes I'll even just move the buckle, sorry, it's black, I'll move the buckle on the webbing before I even clip it in a little bit. And so that way I can still sort of get that slack out, but it just makes it easier for me to adjust that way. So then that's crossing the straps. So if you have a hard time reaching that chest clip, and this also gives you, I feel like, a more customized fit than the backpack style straps do. If your shoulders are more broad, I find that a lot of people with broader shoulders like the crossable straps better than the backpack style, just because they can get a better fit on their shoulders and on their back for them. So then to undo, we would just loosen. And this one, I had a question about the difference between this and the Lilla Baby 4 Seasons. I'm not very well versed in Lilla Baby carriers, so I can't give you like a side-by-side comparison, but my guess would be that the 360 all positions and the Lilla Babies that allow facing out in our mesh are probably similar, but I do know that Lilla Babies adjustments for facing out are very different than ours. So to face out on this one, we want to do the quick switch. All right, if we want to do the quick switch, baby's in, we're ready to face them out. We would push this to the center. If you don't have the mesh, it's going to be buttons. So on the canvas, there's 2 buttons. There's a black and a gray. It will always be on black when they're facing in, and then you will move it to the gray to face away. So quick switch on this one. I'm just going to move it forward, and then I'll take baby out, and then I will put this baby is too small. Again, milestones for forward facing is going to be that they have head and neck control, that they can be over the top of the panel with their mouth and their chin when they're sitting in the carrier. So this would be baby sitting in, they're much too small. The Omni that I'm wearing, I can tell you the color. I don't think we have it anymore on our website though, but this is my favorite mesh Omni. So the discount code is through Wednesday night at midnight, I believe, 11:59. But I can double check on that and let you know. All right. This one is called, oh, maybe I don't. Oh, it's the Evergreen is the print, is the color. But this is about a year old. So this is, thank you, Jules. Yeah, it's Wednesday at 11:59 Eastern time is when the code expires. So the Evergreen is no longer available on the website. But we have, I don't know, 20, 30 different mesh colors for you. I love the Harry Potter Omni. I gave mine, my sister has a baby, so she's currently breaking it in for me. Is there an Ergo carrier that has seat? I don't know. I don't know which carrier you're referring to, so I can't answer per se. It is a beautiful color, and it looks more green online, and I really wanted it to be more teal, and I think it really looks more teal. But this is a mesh, and then our canvas ones, like I said, will be a little bit different for the Omni. This is actually our antimicrobial Omni, and it has silver ion technology in the fibers. So on the inside, it helps fight the smell of bacteria, which is super cool, I think. So we have that on the hood, it's in here. And we'll put the hood in the different Omnis. So the only difference of the Omnis is that this one is 100% cotton, and then the other one is 100%, or not, it's got cotton and mesh combination. And that's the only difference between that is the cotton mesh, and then the mesh to face out has sliders that move back and forth like this. And then the cotton has buttons. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go again more in depth on the Omni and on Wednesday. So we'll see you guys then.